Hey Gearfax friends! Today I'm looking at the Zoom G2G. This is a rebadged Zoom G2, which I think is one of the classics. This is the George Lynch Signature Edition, which means it's loaded up with a whole lot of patches that he designed. So if you like his style, then that's a really good resource. Me personally, I like to go ahead and edit all these things and create my own. Let's hear the sounds, and we'll talk a bit more about it after that. JC. There's quite a few of them, so I'm just going to run through quickly. They all respond quite well to a good strong boost in tone. Having said that, there is a pre-effects which is a booster, and that can affect tone as well, and there's also a separate EQ section. So really 3 levels of EQ that you can use to shape your sound. I do find that generally it's a little bassy, so a nice treble boost in the middle is usually pretty helpful. Let's move on. I think the overdrive is exceptional. This is obviously a digital pedal, but I've actually used analog overdrive pedals, dedicated pedals, that didn't sound as good as this overdrive. Now if we reduce that drive a bit, increase the tone. You have to be very slow and gentle with the dials on the G2 and the G2G because unfortunately it's a characteristic of these pedals that will flick your values right out of place if you turn them too fast. But as we reduce the gain, you can really pick up a bit of smoothness and nuance in this overdrive effect. I've got the noise reduction turned up a bit too hard there because I'm actually missing some of the quieter notes. So just get it right on where the noise cuts out, but our signal still gets through. We start with chorus as you do with most multi-effects units. The stereo chorus is way superior, it's really nice. What's next? We've got Flanger. Pitch shifter. This one can sound really nice if you set it to 7. Go back to pre-effects, switch them on, and choose slow attack. There are lots of other great modulation effects in this category too, but I just want to show you this one. Put on a whole lot of delay, and a whole lot of reverb. And with a little bit more tweaking you can make that a really lush and interesting effect. Back to modulation. Actually, before we do that, let's just switch off that slow attack. I'll show you some of the modulations from the pre-effects section actually. We've got ring modulator. There is a phaser that can be set pre or post distortion. Note that we've still got the pitch shifting in the modulation section there, so phasing and pitch shifting together, very nice. I think it's this dial that puts it pre or post, yet before the drive section. This will make a marked difference in sound. Particularly when the distortion is turned up, that location of the phaser effect will really have a big influence on your finishing sound. We've got tremolo as well. And the booster I was telling you about. Various filters. Auto wah. Let's take that pitch shift off, turn it to something else, like flanger for example. So we're getting some really interesting combinations. Here's another one of those filters. But let's turn that section off for now and go back to modulations. There are so many of them. We've got a vibe tone here which is really good. Note the use of the tap tempo button to change the speed of the effect. Step pattern. A second kind of flanger as well. An intelligent pitch shifter. So between all of those and the delay section, the reverb section, and then you've got your EQ section, drive section, pre-effects and compression, there are so many combinations that are conceivable and worth experimenting with on the G2G. It's got a surprising amount of depth. Going back to control now, I'm just going to show you a few tricks on the expression pedal and then I'll leave you to rush out and buy one of these. I'm just going to use a low-cost generic expression pedal. By default it controls volume. But in our control section we can assign it to all kinds of different things. So you can see now we're controlling the speed of that vibration. It takes a while to get to know all these codes, but they do all mean something. This one's fading in delay. So it's considerably more than just a wah pedal, it can do some pretty interesting things. So there the G2G is set to auto wah, but it's also controlling the intensity of that auto wah. It's got standard wah as well, and we've seen it controlling the speed of modulation effects and the addition of effects such as delay. But it's just an illustration of how versatile this system can be. Taking a close-up look now, you can see how sturdy these switches are. Every bit as dependable as the switches that you see on dedicated pedals. You can see the rougher metal finish that this version of the G2 has. It's really good. Everything else is basically the same as the old version, including these dials, which, as I said, are oversensitive. They do tend to throw your values way out if you move them too fast, so just be aware of that. Over on the back now, you can see we've got guitar in, and the out socket also works as a stereo headphone socket. This is where the control pedal plugs in, and we've got our on-off switch and power in there. No direct USB connection on this version. There is another similar model called the G2.1U, and that has USB out for recording. It's a really good pedal. I'll put another link up to that one. But for now, that's it from Gear Facts. That's the Zoom G2G. Thanks for liking, commenting, or subscribing, and please share this video with anybody else you know who is interested in the work of George Lynch, or whom you think might be interested in Gear Facts generally. Thanks again for watching, guys.